Welcome, everyone. Today, AI enthusiast and visionary Prabesh Dahal is here to take you on an exciting journey into the world of artificial intelligence. Get ready to explore how ideas become innovation and how technology shapes our future. Are you ready? Let's begin.
Artificial intelligence, the mind beyond humans. Have you ever wondered what it would be like if machine could actually think like us? Not just follow commands, but truly understand, learn, and even create something new. The idea is called artificial intelligence or simply AI. Artificial intelligence means creating machines that can perform tasks that normally need human intelligence. It's about teaching computers to learn, think, and reasons from the data, just like our brains learn from the experience. In the beginning, AI was very simple. It worked only with the fixed rules, like if this happened, then do that. For example, an early AI could be told if the light is red, stop the car. But it couldn't make decision on its own. Today's AI is completely different. It doesn't just follow instructions, it learns patterns, understands context, and improves over time. This is made possible through the something called neural networks, the system inspired by how human brain works. That's why AI today can recognize face, translate language, and even write stories or make art. In 2025, AI is not just a futuristic dream, it's the part of our daily life. From voice assistant like Siri and Alexa to the self-driving cars, AI is shaping how we live or work. Business uses it to predict trends, farmer use it to plant crops, and doctor use it to detect diseases early. AI help artists create, teachers personalize learning, and companies make smart decisions. It's changing every industry and even every human experience. But with all this power, there are big questions too. What happens when machines become as smarter as us? Can they think, feel, or make moral choices? And what does it really mean for the future of humanity? In these presentations, we will explore all of that. How AI evolved from simple logic to deep learning, how it actually learns, the rise of generative AI and its creativity, the ethics and emotions behind intelligence machine, and finally, what our world might look like as humans and AI grow together. Let's begin our journey on the world where imaginations meet intelligence. Welcome to the age of artificial intelligence. The birth of AI. The story of artificial intelligence begins long before modern computers with a question. Can machine think? In 1950s, a brilliant mathematician named Alan Turing asked that very question. He believed that if a machine could convince a human that it was thinking, then it truly could be called intelligent. This idea became known as the Turing test, one of the first real measures of artificial intelligence. The few years later, another pioneer, John McCarthy, gave this field its official name, artificial intelligence. He organized the famous Dartmouth Conference in 1956, which many consider as the birth of AI as a science. Back then, scientists believed they could build machines that would think like humans within a few decades. They were dreamers, but their dreams started everything we see today. In early years, AI systems were built on strict rules and logic. If you gave the machines a clear instructions, it could follow it perfectly. This was known as a rule-based AI or symbolic AI. If it works like this, like if A happens to B, for example, every chess program would follow thousands of such if-then rules to decide every moves. These systems could solve math problems and even play simple games, but only within the boundaries of their rules. They couldn't learn, adapt, or handle new situations on their own. Then came the revolutions, data-driven AI. Instead of giving a computer rules, scientists gave it data, lots of data. They decided algorithm that could find patterns and improve automatically through experience. This shift marked the rise of machine learning. This idea that a computer could teach itself, from example, without being programmed for every detail. To understand the difference, symbolic AI is like giving a student all the answer in advance. Machine learning is like teaching the students to learn how to learn the answer on their own. With these transformations, AI started to move from theory to reality. Machines were no longer just calculators; they were learners. They began to recognize image, translate language, and make predictions. It was the first step towards the intelligence system we is today. The birth of AI was not just about technology; it was about imaginations or dreams shared by the scientists like Turing and McCarthy, that one day machine could think beside us, not just work for us. And that dreams, as well as we will see next, has evolved into the powerful learning systems and that now shape our modern world. Understanding how AI thinks. How does a machine actually think? It's a strange question, isn't it? Because we know how human thinks through our brain, emotions, memories, and experience. But a machine has none of those. So how does it learn to make decisions, recognize faces, or even write poetry? The answer lies in something called neural network. They are the digital version of how our brain neurons work. In the human brains, billions of tiny cells called neurons connect and pass signals. When you see a cat, for example, different neurons light up. One for shape, one for color, one for movement, and together your brain says, that's a cat. AI works in a similar way. A neural network has many layers of artificial neurons. It's look at a small piece of information like line, edges, or color is in an image and passes it to the next layer. As the layer go deeper, the AI start understanding more complex things like this look like fur or this shape is an ear. Finally, it combines everything and says this is a cat. It doesn't see the cat the way you do. It recognizes pattern. The mean cat is in the form of data. That's how learning happens in machine. Instead of memorizing every rules, the AI looks at a thousand of example. It adjusts tiny internal number called weight. Each time it makes mistake. Over time, it learns which a pattern lead to the correct answer. It's just like a student improving after practice. Except the students never sleep, never forget, and learns at the lightning speed. But not all AI is the same. Today's most of what we use is narrow AI, the system designed for one specific task. For example, a voice assistant that understands speech or model that generate text or images. They are incredibly smart in one area but completely lost outside. Access just playing AI to drive a car and it won't even know what a car is. On the other hand, general AI, something called artificial general intelligence, is the dream of machine that can think, learn, and adapt like a human across any domain. It could reason, create, understanding emotions, and make judgments just as we do. But we are not there yet. We have built powerful imiters, not true thinkers. And this brings us to deep questions. Can AI truly understand or does it only predict? When AI writes a story, it doesn't feel that emotions in its word. It studies millions of examples and predict what word should come next to the sound meaningful. It's just like a mirror reflecting the intelligence it's been trained on. But that reflection is so sharp, it something feels alive. So does AI understand? Not in the human sense, it doesn't have the consciousness, curiosity, or awareness. But it mimics understands so convincingly that it can solve problems, talk, and even create art. Things we once thought only human could do. This is a fascinating truth of how AI thinks. It doesn't think like us, it thinks through us. Through the data we give, the patterns we teach, and intelligence we design, and as AI keeps learning, one question grows larger. If a machine can think this way, now what will they become next? The layer of intelligence. When we talk about intelligence, whether human or artificial, it isn't just a one single thing. It's made up of layers that work together to create what we call thinking. For both human and AI, this layer can be broken down into four main stages: prescription, reasoning, decision, and action. Let's start with prescription. Prescription is how we or a machine see the world. For human, it's through our senses. We look, listen, touch, smell, and taste. For AI, prescription come through data. A self-driving car sees using camera, sensor, radar. A speech recognition system hears using sound waves and microphone. To a machine, the world is not made of color or sound. It's made of number, signal, and pattern. That's its way of perceiving the reality. Next come reasoning, the ability to make the sense what has been perceived. When a person sees a dark cloud, they might reason it's going to rain soon. And AI does something similar. It analyzes data to find relationship and meanings. If the sensor detects slippery road and low visibility, the AI might reason driving speed should be reduced. Reasoning is where raw data turns into knowledge. Then comes decision, choosing the best option from what understood. Human make decision based on logic, emotions, and experience. AI make decision using algorithms, mathematical formulas that calculate what most likely to be correct or efficient. For example, an AI in a hospital might decide which patient need urgent attention first using medical data and probability. It doesn't care like human doctor, but it can process information faster than any person ever could. Finally, we reach action. The output for human, actions might be speaking, moving, or writing. For AI, it's executing commands, turning a steering wheel, generating a sentence, or making a robot arm move. This is where digital intelligence meet physical world. But there's another important element that makes all of this work: feedback loop. In human, when we make a mistake, we learn from it. We remember, we adapt, and we improve. AI works in the same way. Every time it gets something wrong, the system adjusts its internal setting to do better next time. The constant cycle of input, process, output, feedback is what allows AI to become smarter over time. It's not magic, it's mathematics, powered by massive amounts of data. Now, let's compare this to how human cognition works. Human think in the layer 2. We perceive the world, interpret it, decide what to do, and then act. But what makes us different is our consciousness, awareness. We feel emotions, we understand why we make choices. We can imagine futures that don't exist yet. AI, on the other hand, follow logics. It doesn't understand the meaning behind its action, only patterns that leads to result. A human painter paints because they feel inspired. An AI paints because it recognizes the certain shape and color make an image look beautiful based on data. The the output may look similar, but the intention behind it is entirely different. So the layers of intelligence, prescriptions, reasoning, decision, and actions are shared between human and machines. But only humans add something extra: awareness, purpose, and emotion. AI can copy our thinking structure but not add the soul behind it. And as this system grow more advanced, we must keep asking, how close can artificial cognitions really come to human understanding? And what happens when the line between the two starts to blur? The rise of generative AI. In the last few years, the world has witnessed one of the most fascinating revolutions in technology: the rise of generative AI. For decades, artificial intelligence could analyze, recognize, and predict, but now it can create. The single change, the ability to generate, has transformed how we see intelligence itself. It all began with the large language models, system trained out not just to read but to write. The journey started with early models like GPT, short for Generative Pre-trained Transformer, developed by OpenAI. GPT learned from billions of words, books, articles, and conversations to predict what words should come next in a sentence. The result? In began to write in fluent natural language. You could ask it questions and it would answer. You could give it a prompt and it could create a poem, an essay, or even a story. Then came the next generation models like Google Gemini, Cloud, and others. Each one became more advanced, more capable, and more human like in expressions. They could understand context, emotions, and even tone. They didn't just write, they reasoned, explained, debate, and imagined. What once took a team of experts could now be done by a single AI in a seconds. But language wasn't the only art of AI learned. Soon, generative AI began to create images, music, and code. It could paint digital portraits in the style of Van Gogh's, compose symphonic like Mozart, or write computer programs with just a short descriptions. Tools like DALI, Midjourney, and Stable Diffusion taught machines how to see and draw. AI musicians began composing melodies that sounded deeply emotions even through the machine itself feel nothing. So how does it do this? Generative AI doesn't imagine like a human, it reconstructs. It studies pattern in the massive data and predicts what should come next to form something new. When it writes a short story, it isn't remembering or dreaming, it's assembling ideas in a ways that seem creative but are really statistically miracles. In simple terms, it recombines knowledge to make something original looking. But this power has raised one of the most important questions in modern creativity. Is AI creations truly original or just a replica of human art? If an AI writes a poem in a style of Shakespeare, is that creativity or or imitations? If it paints like Picasso, who wants the art, the human who typed the prompt or the data that trained the model? These are not just technical questions, they are philosophical ones. Some say AI is expanding creativity, giving human a new tool to express themselves. Artists use AI to visualize ideas faster, writers use it to overcome creative blocks, and developers use it to code smarter. But others worry it might age the uniqueness of human art, the emotions, infections, and the story behind every creation. Generative AI sits in the middle of the debate between inspirations and imitations. It doesn't replace the human mind, it reflects it. Every word it writes, every picture it points is born from echoes of human knowledge. So is it original? Maybe not in the way we define originality, but it is new form of creativity, one that merges human imaginations with machine precision. It's not the end of human art, it's the beginning of new kind of collaborations, one where humans and machines create side by side. AI and human emotions. Can a machine feel? It's a question that touches both science and the soul. We talk to AI assistants, share our secret with chatbots, and even thank our device when they help us. But behind those polite replies and friendly tones, is there any real emotion? The simple answer is no. AI doesn't feel happiness when it helps you or sadness when you are upset. It doesn't experience love, guilt, or curiosity. What it does is simulate emotions perfectly, convincingly, and sometimes beautifully. When you talk to an AI assistant and it says, "I understand how you feel," it doesn't understand in a human sense, right? It recognizes pattern in the words and tones and behaviors. It has been trained on millions of conversations, learning what kind of phrase sound comforting or kind. That's not emotions, that's pattern predictions. But it feels rare because human brain naturally forms emotions connections even with lifeless object. We name our cars, talk our pets, and now chat with our AI. This is where psychology meets technology. We humans are wired to respond emotionally to anything that acts alive. When a chatbot listens patiently or responds with warmth, we feel heard. Uh, we project empathy onto it. Even when none exists inside. That's a fascinating illusions of AI. It doesn't need to feel emotions to make us feel emotional. Now, let's talk about empathy, one of the deepest human traits. Empathy means not just understanding someone's feeling, but feeling with them. AI can mimic that through empathy simulations. It can detect sadness in your message and reply gently. It can offer comforting words when you sound stressed, but it doesn't share your pain. It only know that certain words reduce negative emotions in the human. That's not real empathy, it's emotional mathematics. It These illusions can be powerful in mental health therapy. For example, AI chatbot have helped people talk openly when they couldn't with real humans. They comfort may be artificial, but relief it gives is real. And maybe that's where AI's emotional intelligence lies, not in the feeling, but in understanding enough to help. Finally, there is a deeper question, the illusions of consciousness. When AI speaks naturally, answer wisely, and remember past conversation, it almost feels alive. It gives the impressions of awareness, but that awareness is only a reflection of ours. It's like looking into a mirror that talks back. The mirror doesn't know who you are. It just know how to reflect your world perfectly. So can AI feel emotions? Not yet. And maybe never in the human way, but it can recreate the experience of emotions convincingly that we start to believe it does. And that belief that illusions of consciousness maybe the most human thing AI has ever achieved. AI ethics and responsibility. Every great power comes with the responsibility, and artificial intelligence is no exceptions. As AI grows smarter, faster, and more connected to our lives, it also raises some of the most serious questions humanity has ever faced about fairness, privacy, control, and accountability. Let's start with bias. AI system that learn from data, and data is often reflects human behavior, human history, and human mistake. If the data is biased, that AI learns that bias too. For example, a hiring algorithm trained on the biased requirement records might unfairly favor one group over another. A facial recognition system might misidentify certain faces because it was trained mostly on single ethnicity. The machine doesn't intend to discriminate, but it can amplify the discriminations that already exist, and and that makes bias one of the biggest ethical challenges in the AI today. Next, come privacy. AI traps on information. The more data, the more smarter it becomes. But where does the data come from? Our conversation, our face, our medical record, our habit. If the AI isn't handled carefully, the power can easily be misused. It could track, profile, or even manipulate people without knowing them ever realizing it. That's why protecting personal data and ensuring transparency is no longer just a practice, it's a moral obligation. There's a question many are starting to ask. Should AI be given rights? If a system become highly intelligent, does it deserve some form of protection or status? Right now, AI is a tool, not a being. It doesn't have consciousness, feeling, or moral awareness. But as your many systems become more advanced, society will need to decide where to draw the line between tool and entity. It's not just a legal question, it's a deeply human one. And finally, accountability. When AI make mistake, who is responsible? The developer who built it, the company who deploy it, or the algorithm itself? Imagine autonomous car causing an accident or medical AI making a wrong diagnosis. Someone has to answer for it. But unlike a human doctor or driver, AI can't take responsibility. It can't stand trial, apologize, or learn from the guilt. That means responsibility must stay with the humans, organizations behind the technology. AI is powerful, but it is not moral on its own. It reflects the value of those who build and use it. That's why ethics isn't a side topic in the AI, it's a foundation. Without responsibility, AI can't harm just as easily as it can do good. As we continue to build a smarter machine, we must also build a stronger principle. The future of AI isn't just about intelligence, it's about trust, accountability, and humanity itself.